Dear students, in this chapter we are all talking about various agents of erosion, and we are also talking about various agents which are bringing about change on the surface. In the process we talked about rivers, sea waves, glaciers, wind, and how they bring about various changes on the surface. Today, let us study a little bit about the way a river brings about various changes on the surface. As this picture demonstrates, a river has three main courses. Like human beings, they also have three courses. The upper course of the river, which is full of youth, like all of us have it. Then the middle course of the river, where you start settling down a little bit, but at the same time erosion also continues. And the lowermost stage of the river cycle, which is like a truly adult human being, where the major thirst is on deposition, you become sluggish, and ultimately near the mouth of the river joins the sea. You can notice in this picture that the slope is different in different stages. In the upper stage of the river cycle, the slope is steeper, and on a steeper slope there will be faster surface runoff. That means the river will flow very fast, and when the river will flow very fast, it will try to exert lots of pressure. The water which is gushing down the slope will exert pressure on the earth and the surface, and there will be a fast rate of erosion. And in place of horizontal erosion, there will be more vertical erosion. And hence the river is usually narrow but very, very deep. In the second stage or the middle stage of the river cycle, you can see that the slope is gradual. It is neither too steep nor too flat. So here what happens is the river starts meandering a little bit, that is, start moving in a zigzag way. Here the river will undertake both erosional activity as well as depositional activity. And in the last stage of the river cycle, we observe that the river is flowing through an almost flat plain area. And here the river becomes very wide and there is hardly any erosion. It's all depositional work which is predominant. So here we find that the river water is very, very sluggish. It moves very slowly. It doesn't have carrying capacity. Hence, the river starts depositing all the river load or the alluvium which it has brought from the mountain tops. So in this way, we come across these three courses of a river. And in the process, the river keeps on making different types of landforms. Let us study one by one about these landforms. In the upper course, we find that the river is flowing through steep-sided mountains. Many important streams join the main river valley, and these streams which join the river valley are known as tributaries because they contribute water to the main river valley. Here you find that the slope is very, very steep and many streams join the main river. The valley is usually a V-shaped or a U-shaped valley. We can find waterfalls in this stage of river cycle. Sometimes what happens is the river passes through series of small obstructions. These obstructions are known as rapids. And when we have series of rapids one after another, we call them as cataracts. And they are good for whitewater rafting. You can see that the river is flowing through a steep V-shaped valley. The river water, once it falls from a height, it forms a waterfall. And in the last lesson we discussed that how the waterfalls are formed and how they formed a plunge pool, and then what happens, why the erosion is more, because it is a softer rock. So when the water passes through a hard rock and crosses to a softer rock, you'll find that the rate of erosion of the softer rock is higher. So there will be more erosion and hence a waterfall will take place. This is another example of a waterfall where you can see that the water is moving down into a plunge pool. This is again example of waterfall. In the middle course, the river becomes it slows down a little bit, and there will be both erosion as well as depositional activity. The river starts meandering, that is, the river does not move straight, it moves in a zigzag way or like a serpentine way or like a snake. This is because one bank of the river has got erosional activity and simultaneously on the other bank you had depositional activity, which gives rise to these meanders. You can see again example of a river meandering, and then ultimately the river meets the sea forming delta. You can see in the floodplains also visible. This is a picture by a satellite. Again you can see the river is making a big loop and forming a meander. You can find such loops in the river also when we are next to Haridwar. Yeah, this is a brilliant example where this is a condition just before the formation of an oxbow lake, which we discussed in the last lesson. Again you can see the river is meandering. In the lower course you find that there is more of depositional. The river has become very wide. You can see huge floodplains are visible in this river. You can see the river has become so flat, it doesn't have power or capacity to carry on the load, the river load in the form of alluvium. So it has started depositing the river loam, and the water is distributing into various streams and channels. This is the last stage of the river. The river has become very, very wide in this stage, and this is a condition just before meeting the sea. Sometimes you have even mountainous areas near the sea, like the rivers which we have in Goa, or we have the rivers which moves directly into the sea sometimes without forming the deltas, like river Narmada and Tapti. They pass through an estuary, and near Surat they drain into Arabian Sea. Again example of how the river is forming a distributaries, that is, the main water is dividing into small streams, and you can see that this huge area looks like a triangular structure, and that is why we call them as a delta. So in this way, I'm sure now you're clear about the three stages of the river. Thank you so much.